Joining us now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Mr. Leader, welcome. Any doubts in your mind that you would get to this point today? And how do you move forward through a process a lot of folks say now is irreparably damaged? How do you respond?
Well, nothing is irreparably damaged. This has been a nasty process, initiated in the beginning by Senate Judiciary Democrats and then carried over into the public. We've literally been under assault here by a mob that's going to our homes, brushing up against us in the halls, requiring enhanced security. But look, the good news is the mob didn't win. Justice will be done. We protected the presumption of innocence in this country. It applies in all walks of life and certainly in Supreme Court confirmations.
Well, you know, Senator Susan Collins obviously made the moment and made the big turn, a lot of people think, yesterday when she took to the floor at 3 p.m. And laid out in detail for about 40 minutes her case for why she would vote yes for Judge Kavanaugh. But she has split with at least Lisa Murkowski and then, of course, other colleagues across the aisle. Are those relationships going to take a little time, some of those wounds to heal up following this fight?
I don't think so. It's interesting. At the same time we were in the middle of this fight, we passed an opioid bill and an FAA bill by overwhelming bipartisan majorities. Just a few weeks ago, we completed the most of the appropriation bills before the end of the fiscal year for the first time in 20 years. Look, this has been a big fight, largely partisan, but there are plenty of other things that we're doing right along beside it on an overwhelming bipartisan basis.
Senator, I was talking to somebody who used to work for you and is a great admirer. He said Mitch McConnell has kind of a narrow emotional bandwidth, by which he meant that you don't either run too hot or too cold, which is probably a pretty good thing in a Senate Majority Leader. But in this fight, were there times when you began to run pretty hot?
Well, there were times when I wondered whether we'd win, but I never considered for a moment quitting. That would have been unfair to Judge Kavanaugh. His reputation had been dragged through the mud for 2 weeks. He needed to have a vote. We needed to have a vote. The president and I had talked about if we came up short, we were going to deal with another Supreme Court nominee this year. And so we were not going to allow this to go on for a multitude of reasons. Number one, it was not getting any better because you guys were having all kinds of uncorroborated, outrageous things thrown at you, trying to get you to publish them or put them on the air. This wasn't going to get better with the passage of time. And we also needed time if perchance we came up short. Look, the heroes of this story are Susan Collins and Jeff Flake. They wanted this additional 1-week investigation. They realized it couldn't be a fishing expedition. They defined the parameters of it, not the White House, but the senators in doubt. We got the report back in adequate time. They read it, reviewed it, and reached a decision. I'm thrilled that 2 of the 3 who went through this process are voting yes, and that's why we're going to put a new outstanding judge on the Supreme Court today.
Senator, you say that there were moments when you really had doubt whether or not the Kavanaugh nomination was going to go through. What was your moment of deepest doubt?
Well, I mean, obviously, Dr. Ford was very convincing. I remember the president and I talked after that and agreed that she'd made an effective presentation. I suggested, and he agreed, that was halftime. We needed to wait till the second half was over to take a look at the other side. We talked again after Judge Kavanaugh's performance. We thought it was spectacular that he knocked it out of the park. I don't think any of us ever discussed the possibility of withdrawal. But if there was a moment when you might wonder whether you were going to win, it certainly would have been after Dr. Ford's credible testimony.
And, Senator, you mentioned a lot of the information that started to come through the floodgates once they were open. Many of these allegations were anonymous. They became more and more disturbing as we went along. Do you think there will be any accountability? Should there be for any of these cases in which what was alleged turns out to be demonstrably false?
Well, you know, we don't get to police the media, and a lot of the folks in your world, not you necessarily, would print this stuff or put it on the air with no corroboration whatsoever. Under the First Amendment, we don't get to tell you what to do. In terms of what the Senate Democrats may have done, I think Senator Graham, who's on the committees, indicated he thinks they need to take a look at it.
And one other question. You've got, the spotlight, of course, is on Judge Kavanaugh right now, but you've got scores of other nominees. You've had very good success in getting a number of the president's dozens and dozens of his lower court nominees onto the bench. But what about those who are still waiting? Do you worry that what's happened over the last couple of weeks will impact those nominations?
Nope, we're going to do them all. The single most significant long-term thing this Senate has done is confirm the president's judges, not just to the Supreme Court, 2 new Supreme Court justices, 26 circuit court judges. There are more that will be done at both the circuit and district court level before the end of this year. I think it's the single most important thing we're doing with the longest impact on the country in a positive way.
Senator, at the beginning of our conversation here, you were talking about the mob and the fact that they didn't win. There was quite some extraordinary scenes of protesters, and we all value the First Amendment and the right of people to express their views. But as you were coming through the airport here at the beginning of the week, you were surrounded by protesters. Sometimes they were being members of Congress, as they were trying to talk to reporters, were being shouted down. I know they came to your house and other people's houses. Are you worried at all about the potential, not for fair statement of grievances, but this could become a security risk?
Well, look, I mean, I'm, in retrospect, kind of glad they did it, because what it's done is the one thing we were unable to do ourselves, which is to fire up our own base going into the election a month from now. Nothing turns Republicans of all stripes, whether they're Bush Republicans or Trump Republicans, on like a court fight. And they played right into our hands in retrospect, turned this into a big issue, put it front and center going into the November election, underscores how important keeping the Senate in the Republican majority is, so we can continue to confirm the president's judges for 2 more years. So as unpleasant as it's been worth it. They made a tactical mistake that really helped me unify my conference and turn on the Republican base going into the election. Maybe I ought to say thank you.
And just real briefly, because I know you got to get to the floor, any thought at all of new security measures because of the fear, and this could go either way, conservatives to Democratic senators, liberals to Republican senators, of a security threat?
I think it's best not to talk about security on the air.
Senator McConnell, we're going to leave it there, and you will join me on Fox News Sunday tomorrow. I'll also have an exclusive interview with Senate Judiciary Committee members Lindsey Graham and also Democratic Senator Ben Cardin. Check your local listings for time and channel.